Hi, this is Vikas Singh from Horizon, and today's video I am going to show you the installation and configuration of System Center Virtual Machine Manager, which is also known as a scvmm 2016. So here we go. So we are going to focus on the installation of scvmm. So in this video I am going to install and configure Microsoft Virtual Machine Manager 2016, and we are going to start the installation from the bare metal, like we will install all the prerequisites and then we will run the installation from Virtual Machine Manager. So if you need our help to set up a Virtual Machine Manager infrastructure for you, you can contact us. Our contact details is given in below description. So let's start. So this is our demo environment. So we are using two virtual machine in this demo. The first virtual machine is our Active Directory server, which is Win2K12 DC01, and I'm running Windows Server 2012 operating system on this machine, and my domain name is horizon.co, and here's the machine. You can see Active Directory and DNS role is running on this machine, and if I go to local server, you can see the domain name is horizon.co and the server name is Win2K12 DC01. And you can see here my Active Directory users and computer. We have a domain controller which is Win2K12 DC01 and the horizon.co. The second machine is VMM server. The host name is for this machine is VMM 2016, and I'm running Windows Server 2016 operating system on this machine. So to install a VMM Virtual Machine Manager 2016 edition, you must need um, at least Windows Server 2016 operating system. So here is the machine. If I go to local server, you can see we are running Microsoft Windows Server 2016 Standard Edition, and I have assigned 32 gig of RAM to this virtual machine, and this machine is joined in my domain, which is origin.co, and the computer name is VMM 2016. If I go to Active Directory and users and computer, go to Horizon OU, you can see my server is here, VMM admin VMM 2016, and if I go to users, you can see VMM admin user is there, and I have logged in with my VMM account, VMM admin account. If I go here and open the CMD and I type, you can see here also VMM admin. If I type who am I, it will give you the origin/VMM admin, which user account which we have logged in. Here's the account. So we are good to go. So this is our demo infrastructure. So if I go to next slide, you can see step-by-step VMM 2016 installation. So the first thing we need to perform here, rename the Windows Server 2016 and join in domain and restart. So if you see here, we have already joined this machine in domain, and we have renamed this computer also, so that's why I marked this step as a green. So we need to perform the step from step 2, which is install and configure SQL Server 2014 Service Pack 2. So I'm going to mount the installation media for 2016 2012 2014 SQL Server. So I'm going to mount the ISO. So I'm going in my ISO folder. Here we have SQL. So I'm going to install SQL Server 2014 Service Pack 2 and click OK. So before running the SQL Server 2014 installation wizard, you must have to know that you have installed .NET framework on this machine. So if I go here on features, you can see I have installed .NET 3.5 on this machine, so we are good to go to run the SQL Server installation. So I'm going to double click on it. Yes, I want to run it. So on the SQL Server Installation Center, click on Install, and I'm going to install SQL Server standalone installation. So click on it, and it will launch the SQL Server installation wizard. So just wait for a few seconds here. So now you can see it's initiating the installation wizard. So this is the demo environment, so I'm going to use a specify a free edition evaluation version. So click next, and I accept the license term. Click next. It's checking few prerequisites, like we have as administrator rights on this machine, there was no restart pending, and few others requirement. Also it's checking for the .NET 3.5 Service Pack 1 is installed or not. So it will take some time. So everything passed successfully, so we are good to go, and click next. And now we have a product update, so we can skip this. Now it will check to copy the installation file to the local machine, and again it's checking few prerequisites here. Might be we have some warning here for the firewall and few other things. So it's just you to make sure that the required firewall ports are open in firewall, and nothing is blocking to SQL Server from the firewall end. So we are good to go. Click next, and I'm going to leave the default option here, setup role SQL Server feature installation, because we are going to install a features here. So now on the feature page we need to select the database engine services and management tool, which is complete and basic both, and SQL Server client for SDK. Now we are good to go. Click next, and it will check the feature roles. So instance name, I'm going to use the default instance name. If you want to rename it, you can rename it. So I'm going to with the default, which is MS SQL Server. Click next. Now we have to specify the user name, the service account name. So I'm going to use VMM admin here, origin VMM admin, and going to put the password for VMM account. I'm going to make this SQL Server agent service automatic, and again I'm going to type the VMM admin password here. So I want both the service to run as a service account VMM admin, which account we are using currently here. And the SQL authentication, I'm going to use a Windows authentication mode, and I click add current user VMM admin to specify the SQL Server administrators. Click next. Now everything's good to go, and now you can see what we have just selected through this all the steps. So we are good to go, and click install button to begin the installation for SQL Server 2014 Service Pack 2. So this installation will take few minutes to get the installation done for SQL Server. Once the installation is done, we will write back and we will start from there. We need to configure the SQL Server memory and few other things. So just wait for installation to get finished. So I'm pausing the recording here. Once the installation is done for SQL Server, we'll start from there. So now you can see the installation for SQL Server 2014 Service Pack 2 is done. So we can go ahead and click on close. And now we can close this also, and to launch the configure the SQL Server, we need to go to SQL Server 2014. So click here. So now go to SQL Server 2014 Management Studio. This is the first time, so it will take some time to launch the SQL Server Management Studio. So here we are going to connect with this server VMM 2016 and Windows authentication, and it's using my origin slash VMM admin account, so it's fine. Click on connect. So now we need to go to properties, and here you can see the memory. I'm going to configure like 1024, minimum 10 gig, and maximum I'm going to give 20 gig. So click OK. So everything seems fine, and now if I go to expand the database, you can see we don't have any database yet, so I am going to close this now. Let's move to next step, which is install Windows ADK 10. So I'm going to install ADK now. So go to properties and mount the ADK installation media. So I'm going to install Windows ADK 10. So click OK. Now I'm going to launch ADK setup. Click next. Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit, Windows 10. Click next. Don't want to participate. Click next. I accept the license agreement. So in this VMM installation, we require only two features to get the install. First one is Windows deployment, and second is Windows pre-installation environment, which is known as Windows PE. So click on install button, and yes, I want to run this installation from my hard drive. So now you can see the installation is running. And now we need to create a VMM container in Active Directory. So I'm going to create a container while this is getting installed. So to create a VMM container, we need to go to tools and ADSI edit tool, and I'm going to right click here on my Active Directory server, connect to, and go with the default option. It will connect with LDAP, which is running on my Active Directory server. So good to go. Click OK. Now you can see it's connected with my domain, which is origin.co. So I'm going to right click here and new object and select the container, click next, and here we need to type the name. So I'm going to type VMM, click next, and finish. Now you can see the VMM container is created, and we need to assign the proper access rights to the user account and computer account to write in this container. So I'm going to click on properties, security, and I'm going to add here my VMM admin account, and I'm going to add my computer account also, which is VMM 2016. So you can see both is added. So I'm going to give it full control, and I'm going to give the VMM admin full control also. And if I go to advanced, you can see this both account have full control, but it's applying on only this object only. So I'm going to change it. So double click on it, and I'm going to allow this object and all sub objects. Click apply, and same for VMM admin account also. So good to go now. So now you can see it's applying on this object and all their child object as well. So we are good to go. Click OK. And now if I go to 2016 server, go ahead and close this, and now we are good to go and run the VMM installation. And now I'm going to mount the VMM installation media here. So browse and go to System Center 2016, and here we have a Virtual Machine Manager 2016. So open it, and now you can see double click on it. So it will ask us to extract the installation files. So I'm going to extract it in my C drive. I accept the license term and put the C drive and call it like scvmm. Click next, extract. Now you can see it's extracting all the files in scvm, C drive, scvmm. So now we can go there and we can see what's going on. So currently it's extracting, so we need to wait for a few minutes here. Once the extract is done, we can go to go and run the setup. Click on finish, and double click on setup to run the installation and click on install. So we need to install a VMM management server. If I select VMM management server, you can see VMM console is automatically going to select. So you can see this feature requires SQL Server database and Windows assessment and deployment toolkit ADK for Windows 10. So we have already done this. So go ahead, click next. Now you can put your name, organization name and product key if you are installing in production. So we can click on next. I have read it and understood. License agreement, click next, and Microsoft update, I am going to use the recommended on, so click next. So it's checked something and restart is pending, so we need to restart our computer and run the setup again. So I'm going to cancel this setup right now and going to reboot my server. So after reboot we will log in and we will try once again. Hit convert del, type the password, go to C drive and scvmm, run the setup, click on install button, VMM management server, click next, and I understood, click next, next, on recommended. So everything passed. Now we have a database configuration page. So if you are installing the if you have a database server on not on VMM server, it's running on some other SQL server, you need to specify the name, port name, and the correct user account which have access to access rights, admin rights to the SQL server database server. So for me, it's install SQL Server is install my local machine, which is VMM 2016. So we are good to go. Create a new database. Click next. So you can see it's automatically identify the instance name, which is we have installed MS SQL Server. So good to go. Click next. Now we have configure a service account for distribution and distributed key management. So I'm going to install my key for the scvmm is path where we have created. So I'm going to properties, I'm going to copy the extension name, copy this, and I'm going to paste here to store my key this location. And now I'm going to type my VMM admin password here. So click next. Everything seems passed successfully. So port configuration, we have a communication to the VMM console and communication to the agent. Everything is there, so we are going to good and click next. Now we have a library configuration. If you want to use any existing library, you can specify the name and location for the share folder, and if you don't have, you can go ahead and create. So I'm going to create the library right now, so click next. Now we have this thing which we have done through this wizard, so everything is good to go. Click install button to run the installation now. So now you can see the installation is started, and it's deploying the web deployment tool right now. So it will install VMM management server. Once the management server installation is completed, it will install VMM console for us. So you can see it's installing step by step the things. Now it's finally installing the VMM management server after installing the prerequisites. So this installation is going to take around 5 to 10 minutes. So we have to wait for few minutes here, then we can start then we can log into the VMM console and we can verify the VMM server. So now you can see the setup is completed successfully. We can close this and close this also. And we have a virtual machine manager console on desktop. Double click on it to launch, and we have a connect to server. The server name is localhost because we are running on local machine, and the port number for VMM server is 8100, so good to go. And I'm using my Windows session VMM admin, which we have logged in to connect to VMM server. So click on connect. So it's opening the virtual machine manager now. So we are in, you can see it's 180 days remaining. This is a trial version, that's why. And if I go to fabric, you can see our VMM server is responding and it's up to date. Everything seems fine. So this is the installation of virtual machine manager, system center virtual machine manager 2016, step by step. So thank you for watching, and if you have any question, any query, you can contact us. And if you have any work related to, if you want to set up the system center virtual machine manager infrastructure for you, or a public or private cloud as a service provider, you can contact us. Thank you for watching.